This is what I call the prophetic date-setting chart of one William Miller, a dirt farmer with no theological education whatsoever, thought that he could somehow read through the Bible and predict the return of Jesus Christ. Of course, we know that Jesus Christ didn't come back in 1843, 1844, 1851, or 1856, as early pioneers of the Seventh-day Adventist predicted that he would. But the one thing to remember about this chart is this is not a chart where there would be another tomorrow whatsoever. The world was getting ready to end, and that is where Seventh-day Adventists, I believe, are being deceived somewhat today. They thought this chart was just something to pave way for other doctrines. That's not what this chart was originally about. It's not what Ellen White originally thought. It's not what the early pioneers of the Seventh-day Adventist Church originally thought. The original thinking was the world is getting ready to come to an end. There would be no October the 23rd of 1844. The world was going to end October 22nd. According to Miller's miscalculations and misinterpretation of the Scripture and twisting of the Scripture, he somehow believed that he had pinpointed the date that Jesus Christ was going to return. And if you look at the dates on these charts and the verses that he used, anyone with any theological sense whatsoever can see how grossly he misinterpreted those verses of Scripture. But another thing to notice about this chart too, not only does it deal with the return of Jesus Christ, but it deals with what appears to me to be a lot of animosity within William Miller for the Catholic Church. It seemed like every one of these dates he's got on here, past Daniel chapter 9, he has to find something that happened in history some years down the line where the Catholic Church is supposed to have done something and try to say, aha, see that the Catholic Church did this on that date, so this must be this. They did this on that date. But the problem is he has no documentation to show for these dates. It's just, I can pick a date out of thin air. I'm sure the Catholic Church did something on that date. So it appears to be just as much an animosity toward the Catholic Church as it does anything else. The sad thing about it is the same animosity from this chart that the Seventh-day Adventist organization has used for over 100 years, because they've used this chart, the same dates from these charts. The only thing they have done that many modern Seventh-day Adventists do not know is that once the dates here failed, and even the prediction of Ellen White, which she predicted the return of Christ, when they failed, they had to quickly find something to deceive people. That is the point that needs to be brought across. Again, they had to quickly find something to use in order to deceive people. They couldn't have Ellen White being a false prophetess in the date-setting business. So from this chart now would come doctrines that was never originally intended to be tied to this chart, to the dates, to the Scripture on here. They would be changed to that in order to fit the failed prophecies of Ellen White. But this chart was initially about the return of Christ. So that's what I wanted to point out in this first video showing the chronological order of events that took place, was what this chart was originally about. It was about the world coming to an end. Keep that in mind as I get into my second video dealing with this chart. Until then, this has been Golly saying, God bless.